We're excited to ask you as select board members to grant permission for the placement of a new monument to recognize Lexington women's contributions across time. Something is being done is a bronze sculpture designed by Meredith Bergman. It invites people to stand in the center of this arch, this gateway, among these incredible women from across time. They've made contributions to our town economically, politically, intellectually, socially, and culturally. For LexSeeHer, site really matters. This work was designed for a particular site. And this map shows you with a yellow dot in this corner here, our proposed location for the monument on the corner of Mass Ave and Miriam Street. It's about equidistant from Cary Library, our beloved library, a row of commercial modern stores and restaurants, the brand new visitor center, the historic Buckman Tavern, where Ruth Buckman once lived and worked, and the Minuteman statue, which is right here in the corner of the Battle Green, formerly the Town Commons. Each oval here correlates with one of the women, and each of these women had a tie to the place in this immediate area. For us, that's important. It says this is the best, most respectful way to remember these Lexington ladies and to tell their stories and share them with residents and with visitors. These women worked here, they protested here, went to school here, some were enslaved here, some died here, and their stories and their place go together to make our proposal meaningful, respectful, and engaging. The women in the gate stand back to back. There are two fronts, and all of the women are equally important to us. Margaret Tulip was a Black woman who lived here for 75 years. She was enslaved, attained her freedom, unjustly taken, re-enslaved, and then had to sue for her freedom in the courts. She eventually won. She was also a mother and a grandmother. Her story helps us think about the pursuit of liberty and freedom in the birthplace of American liberty, because the pursuit for liberty is not the same for all people or for all women. Women as a group have many different identities. On the other side stands Anna Harrington. Anna Harrington was a white woman living at the same time, right across from the Commons. She had the ability to host 45 women at her home in a spinning protest, an act of political defiance. These two different women lived at the same moment in time. Each in the sculpture stands on her own, and we're invited to think about the relationship between them, their moment in time. And this is the visitor center lawn. It's a very large lawn area. With the monument, we can still have concerts, Eid could still be celebrated, and we don't have to change the way we enjoy the space. We can enhance what there is in the space to enjoy. This is a site plan from Inga Daniels, who's here and can answer questions. We also looked at original sketches and a sculpture mock-up made out of foam core. We want to clarify that the finished work will not be flat like foam core. So Ms. Bergman has provided some step-by-step photos that help show how this bronze bas-relief was made. She began with line drawings. As the drawings get bigger, she can add more detail. And then when she moves to clay, the depth comes into play. Her finished bronze work has greater detail and greater depth that allow you to see each figure with details and as real people. In fall 2020, we went to town meeting to measure whether there was community interest in bringing forward a new monument. Our plan A was to put a monument hopefully in front of Cary Library. In pursuit of a plan B, we consulted with then Chair Doug Lucenti and Jim Malloy. They identified a trio: HDC, Monuments and Memorials Committee, and DPW. We had an internal list of criteria. At the very top, we had accessibility, and we turned to the Commission on Disability for their expertise to help guide us. We narrowed from more than 20 sites, our top 5, brought them to the Commission, showing them all of the options. Their feedback focused our attention on Site 15. We have stayed with Site 15. It has continued to prove to check all of our boxes, and the Historic Districts Commission granted a certificate of appropriateness for Site 15. This is a representation of approximately how that space would feel. You're looking at the library, and the rotation that HDC suggested might be more poetic was very nice. It's really a small portion of even just the triangle. There's plenty more grass on both sides of these walkways. We sought input through outreach in the newspapers and in Zooms during COVID, at live community events. In addition, we had a very public process going to multiple town committees, commissions, boards, councils. This is a summary chart. The green boxes indicate the green light feeling that came from HDC, Commission on Disability, the Center Committee, and the Design Advisory Committee. They embraced and supported or recommend approval of the proposal, which is the specific design at Site 15, because these are integral. Two other committees, the Monuments and Memorials Committee and the Tourism Committee, see it differently. They feel that they want to separate out the design from the site. They support the design, but they do not support the site. Once we learned this and they took their votes, we had dialogue with Mr. Lucente and Ms. Dixon, identified some alternate sites to explore. We have a summary chart and we can have a discussion about what we learned. And then we spent an additional 4 weeks gathering feedback from supporters and stakeholders to understand how people would react to an alternate site. What we learned and the conclusions after studying information from the town as well as from Inga Daniels was that Site 15 remained the most feasible site, the most meaningful site, the best site in terms of accessibility. We summarize that further here. There is no site that would have 100% consensus. Either some committee or commission doesn't like one or another site for different reasons. And because we have a strong preference for Site 15, and we saw that there is no site with perfect consensus, that also informed our view that we wanted to come forward to you with that certificate of appropriateness from the HDC and present the different points of view. This is a quick pictorial summary of groups in town that have supported our proposal, meaning both the design and the site. So this is another measure of support. People have made contributions, knowing that we were pursuing Site 15 in particular. This includes the 90% threshold we needed to meet before we could present to you tonight. Plus, we also have sufficient funds for that $10,000 maintenance fund. We want to highlight on why Site 15 is the most effective. It's historically significant, highly visible, meaningful. It's accessible near the Liberty Ride, great for both residents and also visitors. There's parking and restrooms nearby. It will draw people into the visitor center and into Buckman Tavern. People see it as Lexington's outdoor living room where we have art. This is itself a work of public art. People think it's great for business, which is why the Chamber of Commerce and the Center Committee also expressed their support. And we talked about some of the relationship between the women we can expand on. It's a great gateway between the modern part of our center and the historic part. And the bustling area fits a group of women being celebrated. We believe the benefits far outweigh any potential downsides. And that includes the fact that we won't displace or move anything or anyone by adding this monument. Right now, there's green grass, and there will still be plenty of green grass. The Battle Green Master Plan includes both the tavern and also the Battle Green, and these were both busy places in the years leading up to the battle and after, as the town common where the church and the school were, and the tavern where drovers would come through from Boston and look for a meal or a place to stay for the night. Right now, we have picnic tables and cornhole games, and that's terrific. Women are often told that we take up too much space, or we should step back or move to the side. Even as girls growing into womanhood, we're told to be quiet, smile, let others shine. And many monuments in America have been built by women who were celebrating or uplifting the accomplishments of men. We're a group of mostly women and some men who feel like it's time to put a spotlight on women's contributions. Those who are opposed to Site 15 have said that we should look for a less offensive and less visible site. They have stressed that the monument should not be near the Battle Green, the Minuteman, or the Visitor Center. We disagree. We believe the monument carries on the theme of the pursuit of liberty and freedom, that it will enhance the historic area with its beauty. It will tell untold stories about the battle and the years leading up to it and following it. And by including women will be a more accurate and honest accounting of our community and our place in history. It won't block the Visitor Center or the Minuteman or any historic building. Lucinda Brockway, who authored the Battle Green Master Plan, there's an email in your packet from her that's very thoughtful. That plan had a scope. It was defined. It included logistical things that are still being done today, like unifying signage, and that's terrific. What it did not do was express a perspective or view on whether the monuments there were adequate or inclusive. And it was not intended to be used as a justification to exclude women from this historic and important area. Women help make history. are still making history, will continue to make history, and we hope that you will support Site 15. We're excited to hear your questions.